Hello everybody, it's Yana here once again, and I have another toy review for you guys. Now, this is another requested review from longtime subscriber Kaiju Coby, so if you didn't have enough of that last review that I did, well, here's the second review for you. Today we're going to take a look at my custom painted POPY Nokogirin from the Return of Ultraman. And there you go, that's the full package right there. Now, I did a custom paint job on this figure because the original paint job was awful. If not, many of you know. This is actually the American release by Mattel under the Godzilla's Gang line. The original Japanese version was a lot bigger than this, and the horns are not just mismatched, and also it was painted right, because the American version painted it with his head twisted backwards like that. Brilliant! In any case, eventually that paint job grew to be too much of a sore for me to stand, so I ended up giving this thing a makeover. So, that's about that, and let's get on with the detail. Detail on Nokogirin is actually rather good for a old Poppy figure. Now, there are a few inconsistencies, which we'll get to, but at least the face, to the very least, looks just like Nokogirin from the show. There is nothing to nitpick about the face. It looks perfect. It's spot on. The eyes are in the right place. Maybe a little too small, maybe. But the rest of the body also looks perfect, with the exception of the lack of the red marks down here, which I had to like manually come in and draw in. The arms look fine. The back of the shell looks fine, with the lack of consistency on the spikes on the back down here, and that's about that. The one bit of sculpt inconsistency is with the feet. Now, Nokogirin was meant to be kind of a quadrupedal insect kind of look, so the back legs are supposed to be super elongated, but Poppy kind of circumvented it by folding the back of the feet to the front, to the side like this. I actually think this is not a bad choice. This is actually very good for toy stability, but other than that, that's about that. On the butt of Nokogirin, you can see it says here, Suburaya Puro Nokogirin, made in Taiwan with Poppy. Says that. And like all Poppy figures, it has the footprints on the bottom of the feet, which are I don't think they're canon at all, but overall they're not bad. Now, I'm not gonna grade my own handiwork on this paint job because obviously I painted it, and I don't want to, like be self-indulgent and say this is an amazing paint job, because it's just it works. It's a decent paint job. But I will say that the original paint job was horrible. I don't care what the Poppy defenders say, it was a horrible paint job. There's not a lot you can do to defend it, and adding to the fact was that the head was painted with the head screwed on backwards, literally. So yeah, it was a pretty awful paint job. Let's get back to the articulation. The articulation on Nokogirin is fairly simple. Now, as you've seen before, the head rotates, which I do not want to do because it is very stiff. The arms rotate 360 degrees, no problem. And the legs rotate 360 degrees, which I'm only going to show off for one side. It is fairly good articulation, even though it is extremely useless because the legs rotate on such a weird angle that it's not possible to do any poses with it anyway. But it certainly works for dynamic poses, or for the lack of dynamic poses, I should say. Now let's get on to size comparison. Now the Poppy line was actually made at a 5-inch scale, which makes them kind of the precursors of the Ultra 500 line, which makes sense because they have these same lousy paint jobs. But in any case, let's try a few Ultra 500 figures just because right now they kind of work in tandem. Reikublex looks awful next to it, which is expected. Sadora looks fairly awful. Sunogon, fairly awful. Zeton 2, fairly awful. And that's about all I'm going to show off for the 500 line. Ultra Hero series obviously does not match up very well to a kind of a oddly scaled figure such as that. Ultract definitely works a lot better in this case, but mainly that's only because they can squat. And again, like I've said before in previous reviews, you have to squat to get anything done nowadays in the Ultraman universe. Gaia actually looks pretty good fighting Nokogirin here. I won't lie, it looks pretty good. Finally, let's try a few Ultra Monster figures, or just one, which is Super COV. And you know what? Because Super COV is so undersized, it looks very good next to Nokogirin. They look like they can put up a good fight together. Now, Super COV obviously has, more bulk because it's got a fat tail and everything. But height-wise, it works pretty well. Nokogirin's got these huge horns, which kind of makes them, part of the deal. Thank goodness gracious, because this is the one figure that actually broke our lame streak recently, because this is a figure that I'm going to give a hearty, very, very high 4 out of 5 to. If anything, it's going to be like a 91 out of 100. That kind of high. Because this is a very nice figure. Poppy actually pulled through and pulled off a great looking figure. Now these, or Mattel in this case, they shrunk the figure, so it should be a little bigger, which would make a lot of things better, but this is the Mattel version, so, sucks to be me, right? The Mattel version isn't the worst thing in the world. It is still very much undersized. The sculpt looks a little wonky, but it's still the POPY Nokogirin. Everything about the figure is actually really great, with the exception of the paint job, which is awful, which is mind-numbingly awful. Like, what were they thinking? But if we discount the paint job and we just look at it the way I have it custom painted, it's a really good figure. If you can find it for around $25 to $30, I would actually heartily recommend you pick it up. It is a very good buy, and even though Poppy figures are quite pricey nowadays, I think there's a lot to be had with this particular Nokogirin. So yeah, once again, this is requested by Kaiju Coby. I hope you enjoyed this review. I am giving this figure a 4 out of 5. If you can find it for between $30 to $25, I would say it is a good deal. And otherwise, only pick it up if you are a big fan of this very much underappreciated insect-based kaiju. So yeah, this has been a review, and I'll see you guys next time.